I will I'll call this meeting to order. This meeting is to canvass the September 9th, 2025 municipal primary election only. And I'm Candace Payne. I'm the chair of the County Commissioners of Lewis and Clark County. However, I will turn this meeting over to a person who knows how to get things done. Amy Reed.
For today, we are in the City County Building Room in 309. It's 10 a.m. and November 19th. We are discussing the municipal primary election canvass. In our documents here, we will also have the school district because the ballots are shared between the city and the school district. So today we are conducting that canvass of the September 9th, 2025 municipal primary election. The canvass board will consist of County Commissioner Candace Payne, County Commissioner Andy Henthausen, and County Superintendent of Schools Katrina Cheney. She's filling in for County Commissioner Tom Rolfe. Also present is Connor Fitzpatrick, our elections supervisor, Tammy Harbour, our treasurer recorder's office, everything. And then me, Amy Reeves, the election administrator. Anyone else who is present, please make sure you sign in. It's next to Connor there. At this canvass, we'll present the total number of electors voting in each district in the county and the total votes in the county. And in this instance, it's going to be just strictly for these elections that we're talking about. And it's mentioned the county because the school district is both in the city and out in the north. The name of each individual receiving the votes and the office for which the votes were received, the total votes by district for each individual, the total votes in the county for each individual, the total number of electors voting in each district. Again, we're not covering the school election. They have ballot issues, so those are up to the school to do their canvass. This information is provided in the format of the 2025 Helena Municipal primary election and Helena School District bond election canvass report, which details the number of registered voters, number of votes cast, and number of ballots counted, as well as the election results reported from our tabulation equipment, which will be on this one. After reviewing the information presented by the elections department, the commission may review any document or ask any questions. The commission may then certify the results of the election.
Amy, would you specify the page number of the document you held up and said this one?
I don't have them numbered. This one was an Excel spreadsheet, so it's actually front and back for you guys. So that's what we'll be talking about, and as we go through, we'll go through it. But the election results that come off the tabulator is the last part of your packet today, and it has pages 1 and 2 at the bottom, and then there's a separate report 1 and 5. Those are off of the tabulator and they're pre-numbers. So those reports are something I couldn't change those numbers. But again, we will start with the actual canvas report, and up the top here is what I referenced. In blue here, the 2025 Helena Municipal primary election and Helena School District bond election canvas report. So that's what we'll be discussing. And again, your guys is two-sided, so that, well, mine is too, but I think that read it a little bit easier. But we'll go over the first side first. The second side is the reasons why we had any differences, explaining the processes, and let us go through it. So our first step when we have our election is, of course, we're registering voters all along. So the very top line, you will have our registered voters. In blue, you'll see our total registered voters for this election. Now, mind you, this is not countywide because School District 1 does not cover Wolf Creek or Canyon Creek.
Augusta.
I'm sorry.
Because Wolf Creek and Canyon Creek are
in. You're right.
Yep.
Excuse me. So they don't have the Lincoln voters. They don't have the Augusta voters in this total. So that's why our total is going to be less than our normal elections. The next 4 columns is our ballot style that we had for this election, the EL01 and HSO1. EL is elementary, O1 is school district 1 for our Helena, HS is high school, O1 is our school district 1. And then the second column, you have EL01, HSO1, HLN. That is because our school district is both inside city limits and outside city limits. So HLN is representing our municipal election that we're holding to the campus for today. And then the HSO1 is strictly the high school. Again, thank you, Connor. That is for our Canyon Creek district and our Wolf Creek district because they have their own elementary districts. So they are still within our school district 1 high school district. And then the last ballot style is the HLN, and that's just strictly our Helena voters. We have an area in our county that is over by Sleeping Giant Lanes, and they are located in the school district 9, which is East Helena, but they're also located in the Helena city limits. So that is why they have the HLN ballot. The other part of this, the last part, is by the entity. So an elementary has its own election, a high school has their own election, so they're listed separately. And then we also have the city of Helena, which I've listed first since we are doing the municipal campus. So you have to add the 2 columns that have the HLNs together to get our total for the city of Helena, which is what I've done here. So you'll see that those, which is our 3rd column, the ELO1 HLN, HSO1 HLN, and the 5th column being HLN added together to get us our total city of Helena. So that's really what we're gonna be focusing on. But either way, for us, we have to be able to balance everything that was included in this election, which is why you're also seeing the school district information on here. So the next part of our canvas, what we normally cover, is basically how things are done in our processes. So the first is we've registered our voters and they are able to vote for this election. We send out ballots. So that's our next step. We would be issuing ballots. So the total ballots issue here, we issued 37,535. And if you were to look over at our total city of Helena, we actually issued 20,084 for our municipal voters. Under that is our sent and not returned. So that would be something that we mail to them. And for whatever reason, they either didn't get it, they didn't fill it out, or they just didn't send it back to us. We did not get their ballots back. So out of the 13,164, we received 6,695 for our municipal election, or did not receive 6,695. So out of that,
Amy, would you say that again, please, just to make sure it's clear?
the total that we did not receive back from our voters was 164 ballots or affirmation envelopes. And out of our total city of Helena, the ones that the voters did not return to us, did not fill out, whatever reason, did not get us their ballots back, were 6,690.
Thank you.
And then that difference in blue, that is going to be the ballots that we actually did receive back. Because we sent out so many minus ones we didn't get. So we had 13,389 that were returned to us for the municipal election.
In some fashion.
In some
Not
fashion.
just voted, but we'll get to that.
So the next process is our received. And I'm just going to go through and explain that a little bit. Our office, our county, we always count our ballots or our envelopes in batches of 20. So as the affirmations are returned to us, they should be signed by the voter. There's a new law stating that they need to have their birth date on there. So we have a note on ours, and we sent out a flyer this time because next election in the general, it's mandatory. We also have a balancing form that we use for all these little batches of envelopes that we get. We separate them by the ballot style, and we group them into batches of 20. We have a person that's going to be taking those. We have signature verification people that go through and make sure. And then after they have verified them, they're going to go to an affirmation opening board. But in that process, they're going to create batches. They're going to record those batches on the front, and then they're going to make sure that when they are separating the affirmation envelope from the secrecies, they're going to make sure that they actually have one secrecy for one envelope. Our voter signature of that voter can only vote for one ballot, which means one secrecy. If they contain 2 secrecies, we're not able to accept this because we have no idea where the other secrecy came from. So that is our first step of whether we were able to reject a ballot or not. It would be if they did not even have a secrecy, maybe the envelope was empty, it would be considered a reject because we issued it, we marked that we received their ballot back because it came in the affirmation, but if there's not one inside, we have to say we rejected it. If there was
For example, if, say, my husband and I both wanted to vote, but we couldn't find his affirmation, so I just stuck his in with mine. Neither one of them would count, right? Even though we are married and it's,
There is one
One
way that
signature.
could work,
don't confuse me
and that's
because
if both of you signed the affirmation. And we're watching for that as we're doing the signature verification. But if there's only one signature means one ballot.
and okay, so we would both have to sign the outside of this.
Both.
And it's something I haven't
It has to be
seen
there.
yet since I started, so.
It just,
But you can return, if you lost your secrecy, you can return your ballot inside of here. Our staff is trained to pull that out without looking and stuff it right in that secrecy and seal it right up. Just as if we were to received it in secrecy, and we would accept it at that point.
good,
So,
okay. Yes,
To potentially alleviate some of your fears there, even if you had.
it's not a fear, it was a question. People have trouble with this. I know you don't understand that.
I absolutely understand. I'm trying to follow up on it. That's not the end of it. So if somebody did that and those ballots did not count at that point, you make an attempt to get a hold of those folks, right?
So
Say,
if
hey,
we-
you sent both of them in.
Yeah.
You need to come and you have an opportunity to come and rectify this and make sure that your vote counts, right?
Yep. And usually, what we see is not that people are trying to put two ballots in an affirmation.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we got people coming in just, I need a new ballot, full stop, because I made a mistake. For this one, we had a lot of folks try to vote for two mayor candidates because it was vote for up to two for the commissioners on the very next race. So it's like, okay, we get you, new ballot, no big deal. We had more than a few people come in and go, hey, I forgot to put it in the secrecy. It's like, okay, yep. So we will open your affirmation with you right in front of us. Go ahead and put that ballot in the secrecy. Then we can seal it all back up. You can vote it. Had a few folks who wanted a new affirmation envelope. And then we actually had one individual who was out of state, received their ballot, somehow misplaced their affirmation, but returned their ballot with the secrecy signed and their birth year on it. So we could read the signature. We knew who it came from. So really, they did everything right. We just had to take that signature, fold the secrecy over so it would sit on an affirmation envelope. And then it's like, okay, we can put all of this in a new secrecy in the affirmation. You have signed it. You did everything right as you could without the affirmation. And we walked through our process from there.
You guys are so accommodating.
the other thing we see is that normally on your affirmation envelope, your address and your information is right here, and realistically, there's a barcode that we can scan on our computer, and it will bring up your voter information. And if your husband signs this instead of you, being Candace, what happens is then sometimes you may end up signing his and putting your ballot in his envelope. He puts his and yours. So what happens is we consider those swaps, signature swaps, in our computer system. ElectMT does track everyone that is in your household. So even if it was your grown child that was living with you, or maybe an adult, a parent or something, also, we would know all the voters in your household that you could have that signature swap with, and we hold those out. Usually we're pretty lucky and they come in the mail the same day, and we can verify that, oh yes, we have one from Candace and her husband, and they just swap their signatures, and we can accept both of those.
So long as
We
the
will.
signature matches.
Yep.
That's very reassuring.
So
Thank
we
you.
do hold them and we do watch for
Well,
it.
I tell you what, I wouldn't be having this discussion,
Yeah.
but my husband and I did have this, which one, so I can see it happening. It's not all.
It's not like they look the same or anything, right? Ballot uniformity, envelope uniformity. Yeah, we get it. We get it.
So as they are separating those secrecies from the affirmations, they are noting it here. They're in batches of 20. They will give us a total, and then that total is put on this form. This form is something that downstairs the person running our secrecy opening keeps, that she doesn't let the people who are doing the secrecies look at. So in that process, with this side, we are verifying signatures and going through our database to accept signatures. That is in this received area. So all of that is basically off of the affirmation and basically saying we've got an envelope back from you. It does not mean we got your ballot. You might have your utility bill, paying deposit, or maybe a ballot from another election, but we did receive a ballot from you. From there, we are going to be telling you, or we're going to be listing here, process and rejected. So we had a total of 260 that were rejected. Out of that, 109 from the city of Helena's election. The reasons why are right below that. We have rejected for no signature. We have signatures that did not match. We have late for election and other. Again, if a signature does not match or the no signature is on there, we are trying to reach out to that individual to find out what is the issue. I have actually had the FBI get involved when a signature did not match.
It's been a minute since that happened, but yeah.
Yeah, so we're very diligent. Law enforcement is diligent. So we want to make sure that that is good. And again, I mean, if it's just simply that you accidentally signed your spouse's, obviously
Yeah,
we realize
we have a
that that's why
process for
it's
that.
not matching. As we try to contact those individuals, whether it's by mail, phone, every means
Sent
we
a
can
couple
think
emails
of,
this time too, yep.
we, then these were the things that we could not clear up. In this election, we had 5 ballots or 5 affirmations that we could not clear up, no signature before election day or by the time we were done with the polls closing on election day. 3 of those were in the city of Helena. We had signatures that did not match, a total of 78. Out of those, 33 of them were in our municipal election. And then we had late for election. Now that is an ongoing thing. That is the ballots that were mailed and did not reach our office by the 8 p.m. on election day. And we do go to the post office at least twice on election day. I believe it was 6 and then closer to 7 p.m. So they actually were, I think, kind of waiting for us to get those before they closed the doors.
Yes.
So we try everything we can, but again, if someone puts it in the post office or in the mailbox late, we cannot control when it reaches us. So those late for elections could grow which they usually do. And so we have to pick a date and time that we're just, we're getting the canvas complete. So chances are that 177 could actually have grown. At this point, we're at 73 in the city of Helena that were late for election. We didn't have any other, so we don't have to worry about that. We also have canceled and voided. So that's besides rejected. Now we have canceled and voided. Those canceled and voided ballots could be somebody who has lost their ballot, or like Connor had mentioned, they filled it out incorrectly and they realized that, ooh, I did this wrong. I want to do a new one. Maybe they voted for the wrong person or voted for too many people. So we can replace their ballots. So you're going to see that we canceled it and we issued a new one. There are times where we might cancel or void in the case of a death. So we watch all the deaths in our community, our voters, so that we can take them off the rolls. Basically, they are still there, but marked.
Their record is marked canceled and the reason is deceased.
So, and we are pulling those all the way out until we mail. This was a mail ballot election, so we mail our ballots out by state law on a certain date. We have a date that we pick, but they give us little.
It's a spread of days for mail ballot elections.
As we are waiting and preparing those, we are also tracking any deaths that have happened during that time frame and pulling those out before we even stick them in the mail. So we do that even the last day right before we take them to the post office, and it's usually about a U-Haul full of ballots that we are sending out. So we are very organized. I can say my staff does a very good job. We have all our trays labeled, and generally speaking, from the voter record, knowing which ballot we issued to them, they know exactly what cart to go to, which tray to pull, and to find that particular ballot to pull it so we don't mail it. We also don't want to upset the spouse that has survived.
And we'll also do that for voters who have moved to other counties from the time that we've pulled the list and sent to our printer to our mailing date. So, for example, if Commissioner Payne had gotten a new job in, let's just say, Gallatin County, and had updated his voter registration to reflect that, it would be on our list to pull his ballot before mailing, so long as we got that information prior to the mailing date.
Okay. So out of, then we have our undeliverables. Now those are ones that the post office could not deliver to the address that we have on file, and those will get returned to us. We had 1,163, and out of that 812 were in the city of Helena. That could be due to people moving. It could be due to maybe they have the wrong address with us. I have no idea. It's gonna be something that the post office deems that they could not deliver for whatever reason.
Whenever we receive an undeliverable ballot, we send out a forwardable notice to the individual who the ballot was for. Hopefully chase them down either at their new address or, as happens pretty much every election, at least once or twice, a voter comes in and goes, I have the same address. So then we kind of go, not sure why the post office couldn't get it to you then, because here we are, you got the green card, but you didn't get your ballot. So don't know. So that's something I get to talk with the post office about every time.
So then you reissue another ballot?
We can either take the undeliverable ballot and give it to them. If they haven't moved addresses, they can choose to vote that ballot. Or if they have moved addresses, they can choose to either vote one last time at their current address, i.e. the address we have on file, or they can update that address and receive a new ballot. It's for district-based elections like this. If you move within the city of Helena, you're getting the same ballot style. But for federal elections with the different precincts, moving to that new address may lead to a whole different ballot style with a lot of different folks running for office. So up to the voter, we discuss that with them.
Thank you.
This. I have it typed on my canvas. Hopefully we can fix it before we put it on the website. I'm gonna do something real quick, because I just noticed it's like this is the wrong one. All right, did you see it?
I did not.
I see it. So on, in the blue here, you would have the process and accepted. So you would be taking our amount of ballots that we actually issued and got back. So out of the blue here, the difference in the very first, and then we have our rejected, our canceled, undeliverable. On our process and accepted, we had a total of 22,429. And then in the city of Helena, I have a typo. I think my formulas did not cross over to those three last columns. And the city of Helena should be 12,079. Yes, 12,079 ballots. I will have to get those corrected, and we'll get those all. Then I'll probably reprint it for to put on the website if that is okay with the commission. If you choose to go with it. All right, I'll have to fix those other two for the Helena district. Okay, so from there, that is the affirmations. That is our elect MT database. From there, we are opening our affirmation envelopes and we are separating those secrecies. And you'll see on the next line, we had the same amount that we were processing and accepting elect MT for the total of 22,429, which that means is we didn't have to reject any that were empty. We didn't have to reject any that had more than one secrecy. We were okay. And out of that, we had 12,057 in the city of Helena. I'm going to check my numbers. I don't know what happened there. Double check that, please. Sorry. You think you get everything done, and then all of a sudden you have that map here. And unfortunately, this election, well, fortunately and unfortunately for me, this election was one of an easier one, so I don't know why I have a typo. I'm going to double check one more thing.
A lot of these numbers built into one another, so.
Well, and a lot of them are linked to the problem. So I think what happened is on my totals, it was probably a formula. Well, let's go through it. On our affirmations. Oh,
Okay.
I'm off 32. I know what that is.
I'm like, okay, so the total city of Helena processed and accepted is 12,079.
Yep.
So if that number changes, then would there be a change to the numbers under the total Helena Elementary School District and the total Helena? I mean,
Yeah,
those-
we'll have to change those totals on those last two in blue. All three of those are incorrect. And I am gonna double check on our affirmation envelope and our secrecy removed affirmation envelopes. Originally, I had a little confusion between our military ballots or UOCAVA ballots, because those are electronic, and I was under the impression we weren't going to be receiving an affirmation envelope to check them. So I believe that my difference on this one is the 12,057 I believe should have been the 12,079. I'm guessing I had 22 military ballots in there.
That sounds right, actually.
Does
Yes,
Yeah,
I think that is
I
exactly
think that's
right.
exactly what happened on
Mhm.
those, and I didn't have those in the formula, so I will double check them before we put this out. The from what staff has told me is even though they don't get an affirmation, it's still put into a manila envelope and we consider those affirmation envelopes. So I was kind of going back and forth on our UOCAVAs. We had a total of 32 for the whole election. But out of our affirmations, total affirmations, we had 22,429. We did accept the same amount of ballots throughout. I just have a formula error on my spreadsheet, unfortunately. Out of those, we then take, when we open our secrecy envelopes, so we know that we balanced, sorry, it's incorrect on my spreadsheet. After we've separated them all, we knew we had the same amount of secrecy envelopes. And every time we go through each of our processes, they count these to begin with. And before they move to the next batch to be separated, they count these again. So we always know that we're always in balance. Then once they've counted both of these, they go to the secrecy opening, they then count these again. So, and they've done them in different batches. So they go off of a total tray. Originally, we start with little batches of 20. We put them into a mail tray and they did about 160 to 200. And that's what they're balancing. So they'll have a total that are people that are separating our affirmations. They will give our board or person running our room downstairs that total for each tray. And then our election judges down there in pairs of 2 are counting all of their secrecy envelopes. They go up to the person and they tell them how many they came up with, and that person will look at their list and make sure that the number they tell you is correct. So if they said 160, the cheat sheet for our person running the room should say 160. If it does not, we will send them back and tell them, no, that is incorrect. If you don't tell them whether they're high or low or how many they're off, it's up to them to count it again, because otherwise their brain may automatically say, oh yeah, we came to that number. Once they get that number, their duty is to fill up the top part of the green sheet here, and they're gonna fill out the ballot style again, we had 4 this time. They're gonna fill out how many secrecy envelopes that they had counted. Again, it should already match what our affirmations were, because that's kind of the verification. And then once they know it matches, they're gonna open the secrecy and they're gonna separate that ballot away from the secrecy. Now, before they move on, they should be counting how many secrecies they have accepted, and any that were empty or had somebody's utility bill or whatever else they might have decided to throw in there should be listed here, that they had one envelope that didn't contain, a ballot, one envelope that contained instructions. On the back, we actually had 3 ballots that came through on the secrecies that they opened that did not contain a ballot. They only had their instructions in there, so we didn't return a ballot. So we have to know that. So we will go into that here in a minute. And then on our UOCAVAs, we had 1 UOCAVA that returned the wrong election ballot.
Sorry, you.
That is our,
Uniformed overseas voters, so,
it's our,
Turn it over.
uniformed and overseas citizens
Oh,
of
thank
taking
you.
out.
Military.
So, that's our military, and it could be a citizen too, that's from overseas. I tend to just call military, it just makes my life easier. But we had one that they've got the wrong one. Now, we do not know if they just copied last time's email that they sent back to us and forgot to take off the old, put the new one, or if when they sent the email to us, they attached the wrong file. We don't know, but either way, we got the wrong election. So that was one of our rejects besides the 3 that were just containing the instructions. So
and in a way that kind of shows that we're not looking at the ballot that is sent to us by these voters. Because if we were, we'd have noticed, oh yeah, this is from the school election last spring rather than this election. So even when email ballots are concerned, ballot secrecy is still enforced.
and that wasn't found until they were downstairs in our room that does our opening of our secrecies, and then they also do our resolution boards downstairs too. So on our secrecy opening, basically, we have 22,429 that they had secrecies for, and then out of that, we had 12,078. Now, that 12,078, that one you have all the chances are, I probably have it mismarked on my UOCAVAs again. But we had, I know we had one that was rejected. Oh my goodness, here, I thought I did good. I am so sorry. I am dealing with year-end and training about 3 people right now, so it's been a real,
Many hats.
it's been
You always
a
have
go.
many hats.
We'll get it
Is it
updated and pass
the
it on
one
to
that's
you
in the
guys.
column for rejected ballots? Right?
Yeah, I think it is a rejected
ballot.
ballot that is causing me some pain, but the secrecy openings, so they have that many, we rejected 4 total. And out of the 4, there was 3 in the EL01, HS01, HLN, which carries over to our city of Helena, that we did 3 that were rejected. So we accepted for 22,425, and out of city of Helena was 12,075. And you'll know from our process and accepted, originally we were at the 12,079. On our ballot counted by the tabulator, as those ballots come to us from the opening of secrecies, this part of the form is empty. We are told how many ballots they accepted, how many ballots they rejected for each batch that we're gonna put through the tabulator. We fill this out by the precinct or ballot style. This is an election by ballot style. We note our tabulator batch, which is on the screen. We're able to track through that. And all through this, they're tracking by basically the mail tray when they first got that affirmation and put it into our election database. So it's all tracked all the way through as we go. When they combine onto this sheet, there may be several different mail trays and several different batches for empty, but they have we can link it back to here too, so we can track those all the way through. And then as we put them through the tabulator will kick out any that is blank, overvote, unclear mark. We didn't have to kick out any write-ins to a write-in board this time because we didn't have any filed write-ins, so we didn't have to worry about counting any of those. The top bin of the tabulator is gonna have to go to a resolution board. It's gonna need a pair of eyes, so we're gonna have 3 people on the resolution boards. And on those 3 people, they're gonna gather, they're gonna verify that yes, this is a blank. If it's a blank, it's okay, it can go back through the tabulator. If it's overvoted, they'll verify, and overvote means they filled out more ovals for that race than was allowed. Or in the school district's ballot issue, they would have had to mark yes and no, which happened too. So always does. We always have blanks and we always have
Decisions and decisions.
So from there, the unclear marks or the overvotes, they may have to look at it a little closer to see if it's a voter intent thing. Did they fill out both ovals, X it out, make a note, oops, I didn't mean to vote that. So at that point, if something happens in that instance, the ballot would be transcribed onto a new ballot. And basically we call those a remake, and they will be sent back to tabulation to be tabulated.
And the remakes end up with a barcode on them. Essentially, it's comprised of the initials of each of the judge that was part of that resolution board, plus a number. So 1, 2, etc. So that we can track the original to the remake and essentially go back and forth if need be for something like, say, a recount. Sure.
So we track all of that so that way we can make sure everything is appropriate. And they also track it in a log. Every remake that they have to do is also logged. So we have that, and it's by ballot style.
Yep.
So we can keep track of ourselves very well. Out of the total ballots cast, we had 22,425, which also that would be the 22,429 that we accepted through Elect MT minus the total 4 that we rejected to get us to the 22,425. And then out of the city of Helena, we had 12,076 ballots that were passed and counted. Out of all of those, we had, the next line is our blank ballots. So we had a total of 3 for this election. 1 was in the city of Helena. And then for our differences, you'll notice in the EL01, HS01 column and the EL01, HS01, HLN column, there's a -1. The first column has a +1. What this means is a ballot swap, and meaning that somewhere along the line, one of our voters got the wrong ballot style to vote on. For having 37,535 ballots issued to our voters, we feel that's a really good number that we only accidentally had one go through that went to the wrong voter, or the wrong ballot style went to the voter, to the right voter.
With very similar ballot style names.
Yes, and you know, the thing is that could have happened in, it could have happened in our mailing process, it could have happened in, someone needing a reissue. There's just no way to really track it, it's human error, which tends to happen in here, it's one of those things. Normally, you see a lot more of those when we have a lot more ballot styles, we have limited space, we have them on carts. And I think we use 2 or 3 carts when we have 32,
Depending on the election,
45 ballot styles. And you can see it happening more
Three
often
carts.
because you have to pick through, and sometimes the label for those ballots are for the ones above it, and they accidentally think it's for the ones below it, and they give them the wrong. With all of that, we had a total turnout of this election of 51.75%, and then over in the city of Helena, 51.66%. Our original numbers on election day were off of one of our reports on electmt that we did not realize did not have the inactive voters, but registered voters include inactive voters.
Oh.
So our percentage was higher to begin with.
And we did an update, I may have seen that, working with that view, so.
Okay, so again, on our differences, on the backside of your canvas report, you will see that we had noted that we have the first thing here, an elector received an EL01, HSO1, HLN ballot instead of the EL01, HSO1 by mistake. And again, that's just a result of human error or failure to follow our procedures. The other issues we had were the rejects that we have to do. And again, it's not like we're really rejecting a ballot. We were not able to say we accepted a ballot because there was no ballot there to accept for this election. So it's not like we're not accepting a ballot if we received it. In this instance, you know, signatures were good. The voter only was able to vote one ballot as they should.
And I got credit because we can't draw that secrecy envelope back to the affirmation envelope by design. So yeah, we just had one that was empty, void of a ballot.
Yeah, so the first note there is the 3 that we were off. The middle note is the 1 that was a Uakava that was for the wrong election. And then basically if you add the 3 plus the 1, we have a total of 4, which we have noted. So on our spreadsheet here, we also review our ballot statistics by ballot style. This is off our electmt database. So if you look here on the total ballots issued, we have a total ballots issued of 37,535, which is what we have recorded here on the second line here in blue in the first column. All right, and then from there we have our ones that were not returned, which is the next line down of the 13,164, which we totaled that. And then the A is for our accepted of 22,429. So that is our next section in the blue of the 22,429. And then our R is going to be our rejects. Is that right?
Yes.
Yep, our rejects, which you have to go right back up to right below on the first part where it says process and rejected. So we have 260. Below that, we have our canceled and voided in bold there of 519. And below that, we have our undeliverables of 1,163. So we were able to match our electmt database for our election. And then from there, you will have our reports off of our tabulation equipment. Yes.
The spreadsheet file.
We officially have those, but she was putting that on. I kept looking at those.
That's good, and you will, this is.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna go through this whole thing.
I'm going to run downstairs really quick and update these numbers so that way when we, when you guys decide to approve or not approve of the canvas that we have the correct numbers in there. Okay, I'm gonna sneak downstairs and do that real quick.
In the meantime, I'll be a guide for the tabulator report here.
That's so exciting.
All right, guide you to the wonderful world of electionware. That's the name of the program that we use to get these together here. So the first report, this first and second page, front and back, this is the summary results report. So this combines from all the ballot styles, the race. So for the city of Helena mayor, for example, it's the combination of both the ELO1, HSO1, HLN ballot style and the HLN ballot style for the cumulative total of the race. So as you can see here, we had 5 folks running for city of Helena mayor. That's what triggered the need for a city of Helena primary. All sorts of fun.
But we're not canvassing.
We are canvassing the city of Helena
This
side,
is the
yeah.
part.
And I will briefly touch on the school side just to note a fascinating fact in case you guys get any questions, but we'll get to that in a moment.
Thank you.
So you can see here we had 5 different candidates, and with 36.5% of the vote and 48.34% of the vote, Emily K. Dean and Andy Shirtliff were our top 2 candidates. So the top 2 vote getters are moving forward for the city of Helena mayor race. The top 4 vote getters are moving forward for the city of Helena commissioner race because there are 2 commissioner seats that are up. So we'll go with no questions there. We'll go down to the city of Helena commissioner race, where our top 4 candidates are Haley McKnight with 22.18%, Melinda Reed with 35.58%, Ben Rigby with 23.36%, and Sean Whitewolf with 10.94%. So you can see for both of those races, there were some write-ins, some overvotes, some undervotes. As mentioned, an overvote is when a voter tries to fill in more than one oval on the ballot. An undervote is when they leave that rail blank. It does not void the rest of their ballot if they choose to leave one or more races blank, but instead just means that they can cast a vote for that race. So then to just briefly touch the rest of the report, we do have the Helena High School bond and the Helena Elementary bond, but we'll bump to the next report real quick, where you can see the votes cast and breakdown by ballot style. So just to break it down real quick again, ELO1, HSO1 is essentially our North Valley, where you have folks that live in the Helena Elementary School District and the Helena High School District. The next ballot style listed is ELO1, HSO1, HLN, which is essentially all of our voters in the city of Helena, because they're in the Helena Elementary School District, the Helena High School District, and the city of. And then we of course have HLN, which is just those folks who are in the East Helena School District, which was not holding an election, but also in the city of Helena. And then HSO1 is our Caney Creek, Birdseye, Trinity school districts that have their own elementary, but that elementary feeds into the high school district. So as you can see, for the bulk of Helena, they received the ELO1, HSO1, HLN ballot style. So you can see how that breaks down there through each race. And then right after the ELO1, HSO1, HLN ballot style, you have the rest of Helena with the HLN ballot style. To point out one item that I found fascinating with this election that you folks may get some questions of. We're going to break this out a little bit here and compare just for a moment the ELO1, HSO1 and ELO1, HSO1, HLN ballot styles. We can do the bond for the high school, the bond for the elementary. Essentially, the breakdown and the fascinating item here is that for the Valley folks, ELO1, HSO1, you can see that they were, I'm considering it a firm no in my language of bond no in both cases. And then the ELO1, HSO1, HLN, the city of Helena folks, were a firm yes for both bonds. So there was some consternation from folks apparently on social media for the most part, because we didn't get any calls in our office about it, wondering, okay, why did the bond initially look like it was going to fail, only to actually end up passing at the end of it? Well, because of that urban versus rural divide. So you have any questions about that out on the street, for example, you can let them know about that, or you can pass them along to our office and we're happy to walk through them. But other than that, that is the report here for all of our candidates. Since this was a primary election, the candidates for the City of Helena races are nominated for the general rather than being declared elected out of everything here, so long as the canvas board chooses to take that route. So we have prepared certificates of nomination for those folks rather than certificate of election, because we'll be back here later in November to canvass that election. Do you have any questions at all?
No,
I don't.
it's great.
Here, just for curiosity's sake, so the school district will go on campus.
Yes.
And but again, just curiosity, what's the side boards around that? Who does it? When do they do it? And who's responsible after for?
Absolutely, great question. So Chair Payne, Commissioner Hunthausen, the school board canvasses their own elections. So whether the school runs their election themselves, such as Lincoln or Augusta in our county, or it's the Helena School District or East Helena asking us to conduct the election for them, the school district board of trustees is the one to canvass that election. So they'll go through, we give them the same paperwork that we give you guys, and we let them have at it. If they have any questions, more than welcome to ask us. If they asked us to attend the meeting, we would be more than happy to, but for the most part, they tend to tackle it themselves. As far as I understand, the Helena School District is looking at canvassing the bonds through this election sometime next week. So
Like the school board is the canvassing board then?
yes, the school board is the canvassing board in that case. It's a fascinating thing in statute, Title 20.
Did you have any questions?
I don't think that's it. Yeah, it looks like a lot of work.
I'm not doing anything until we get.
Yes, okay, public comment.
Yes, it's on my agenda right here. Yeah. Okay. Just like our regular commission meetings, I asked the board to put comments or questions. They don't have any. Is there any public comment to the current information or what's been presented? What's that?
Current state of things, I suppose.
You do have a question, and I'm sure I should know the answer to that.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
Right.
sorry.
Okay, just recognize that
Okay. I'm sorry, I missed my
Katrina.
opportunity. Okay.
start crying out loud.
We can catch you after public comment, I bet. If anybody's back in.
Yes, you can,
All
I'll
right,
let you,
I'll wait.
and then we can do public comment again, just in case you
All right.
trigger a question or so.
I'm A. then?
You, yeah,
So for the, I realize for the mayor, that was just the primary, but for the Helena commissioners, were those two
Same story.
same story?
It's also the primary. So that's why 4 folks, the top 4 vote getters are moving forward, 2 for each seat. Otherwise, if you send just the top 2 vote getters forward, then it's like, oh, wait a minute. We just kind of made the decision for you because there are 2 seats open.
Okay.
So top 4 here.
okay, nice clarification. Any further public comment on the presentation?
Any public comment at all?
Yes,
Madam Chair, I'd like to comment.
state your name,
Carrie
please.
Thompson, Cascade County Election Administrator. I actually came and observed the election that day. We as election administrators don't often, if ever, get that opportunity. We did not have a primary in Cascade County, so that's why I have the time to be able to come. And we're all trying to learn from each other. We're all trying to do similar processes. And it affords me an opportunity to be able to learn and modify maybe some of the way that things are done in my county. And I just want to reassure you folks that you've got a phenomenal team of people. I was extremely impressed with your judges. I think it's the one thing that I would say is it can be a good and bad thing that you don't have members of the public coming to observe those processes. Obviously, we've been a hotbed of observations in Cascade County for a couple of years. Our elections, you know, we close our office and we move to our fairgrounds, so we're all in one big building, so you can see the tabulation going on, the resolution board, you know, all this montage of things that are happening. You guys have 4 different locations within this facility, which was interesting to me. And that's where I didn't see really much engagement from the public, other than the one observer from MTEOI that came and spent the day as well. Not that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying I just find that, you know, very interesting. But I was extremely impressed with the process. I did the process backwards. I started with the tabulator and then moved to the resolution board and opening of the ballots, and then came upstairs and watched them separate the envelopes and watched them verify the signatures. And not that any order of the process has to go, because you get it all anyways, but it was fine for me versus a member of the public, because I know what processes need to go along to make this happen. I was extremely impressed with the fact of how much tracking was done to account for every single ballot, because members of the public don't understand sometimes that we can't, where there might be a net -5 or a net +5 or something like that in your total count. And so I really was impressed with the time that Amy took with me when there was some downtime with the tabulator, that she showed me how she tracks those things to compile the reports. And she's been very kind to share with me some of her reporting, also of how she does her tests. And so those are some such valuable tools for me, not having a predecessor to train me in this process of just going by staff. And I've had staff turnover, so and brought back someone that was with the 2 prior election administrators. So getting various, you know, and sometimes people can get stuck in this is the way we've always done it kind of thing. And
Yes.
I'm a trailblazer, so it's like I'm out there checking what is the best of what all of my peers are doing, which I get to gauge, because we all think our processes are the best. But anyways, I just want to reassure you. Oh, she's here so she can hear me say it. That
You're doing public comment.
yeah, public comment.
Before. And your name was mentioned in glowing detail. I might say that does not surprise me. You know, the county commissioners sort of visit when we run into each other, and our elections and the way they're run has been comprehensive. So I'm not surprised to hear Miss Amy's. And Miss Amy has the able assistance of the people, who make sure she does everything possible.
The entire elections team, I've gotten to know Cece and Kevin as well. This team, I don't, maybe you remember or you're aware, but last year we had to do all those petitions in a very short, brief period of time. I had staff turnover. I was not even there 100 days yet. 3 counties came forward and helped us meet that deadline of July 18th. And Wilson Park County was one of the first ones to belly up to the bar with us. And Connor took the bull by the horns and said, hey, this is how we can do this. We can scan these documents. So I wouldn't have been able to accomplish that without the help of this county. So I do want to, you know, recognize that as well, that they've been phenomenal in helping us with tasks and work as well. We paid for it, but
Yeah.
literally we did pay.
Yeah.
If that was okay, we
also
appreciated
followed
it.
statutory requirements too by doing so.
Yeah.
We were so close to helping you get all of them done.
I know.
And it's like, oh, gee.
Not that Connor's not a little competitive.
Well, just in good ways, just in good ways.
Okay, I'm going to then close the public comment and return to Amy's report, which is now corrected and complete, and we can take all of the previous data with its lines drawn through it and question mark. Reject it. Go to the house. Awesome. You need and move on.
I did want to note, if that's okay, on our process and accepted, those last 3 columns, the total, the 12,079 for the city of Helena. And basically there was just the formulas for carrying down just the rejected and the canceled and the undeliverable instead of taking the total amount that we had received minus what we could not accept or did not be able to process to give us our total of what we could accept. And that did match our totals in elect MT. So those three are fixed. And then the other issue I had was in the next two numbers, which is your total affirmations and total secrecies removed. I had a formula problem with the ELO1 HSO1 and the ELO1 HSO1 HLN. And then the HLN, it just was not working right. We did receive a total of the original book that we had already stated, the 22,429. But on our ELO1 HSO1, that number had there was just, it just got kind of wrapped together. So we just have to separate things out, make things correct, because there was just a couple ballots, like 22 or something that were off, which all of them were in. So I have those numbers corrected to show what we received for each of those entities. And then the totals are now correct over in the city of Helena and then the other to the total for by entity. So those are the changes that I had to make for this. And then it totally makes sense that the city of Helena had 12,079 that were processed and accepted. They had 12,078 affirmations instead of 79. And that reason is because we had that one ballot that was swapped between the ELO1 HSO1 and the ELO1 HSO1 HLN. So in our system, it would have referenced it as the ELO1 HSO1 HLN, but in actual ballots, they did not get an HLN one. They got one that was an ELO1 HSO1. And that's why there's a weird difference there.
I would like to mention one thing there, of course, because looking at the results of the city of Helena races, none of them were a one vote difference, so it does not affect the outcome.
All right, so sorry for the confusion there. My totals were all correct in the total, which is our column. The first column, those were all correct. Again, it was just a little formula error between the columns. And I did not notice that before because I was doing it in total. Things seem to be going quite right. But nothing is simple when it comes to elections. There's always something.
Statutes in some cases, yes.
So that is the end of my presentation. We do have a full cart over there of all our documents, all our paperwork, all our balancing pages. The stuff gone back to the resolution board for them to verify. All those forms are in there if you guys would like to view any, being the board of canvassers. If you have any questions, we can also refer to those.
Ballots are also downstairs and can be regularly retrieved if you'd like to view them as well. That is within your power.
There are many things as the county commissioner that are within my power, but I have people to take care of those things, so I don't have to. It's like changing the oil on my car. Yeah, I could, but why would I? And we appreciate people who have the skills and the tools, and yes, I can do it myself, but I know there are people who are better counters than I am. Okay, is there any comment from the canvassing board here? Is there any further public comment? Seeing none. Amy, I believe, or is it Connor? Which one of you is going to phrase this? So
I'm gonna phrase how they're going to do their.
You want the motion phrasing?
I would like motion phrasing.
I would say, if you are seeking to certify the results of the election, the motion would be to move to certify the results of the election and declare the top vote getters nominated for the City of Helena general election. If you're looking to do another motion, let me know and I can phrase it for you.
Let me confer with Mike.
Sounds good.
I think the motion, as Connor has expressed it, is appropriate. Do you agree with that? Yes.
Yes, Chair Payne.
Okay, so the motion as dictated by Connor is appropriate, it is approved. And all those in favor of adopting that language indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye, do we need to?
I don't know. I believe if the chair considers that a formal motion, then
Chair is
Yeah.
concerned about rephrasing it, and I might leave something out in Connor's mouth. As I said, I don't change my own oil and I don't, there are people who do this better than I do, and Connor is one of them. And so we have accepted this language. Any votes to deny this acceptance of his language? Nope. And seeing none. Do you have anything you want to comment on there? Andy, you look like you're ready to jump in and. All right. So, this board has accepted pursuant to the language provided by Connor Patrick that we vote to accept the canvass of the September 9th, 2025 municipal primary election.
to that end. Take it here. You see the top one is the certificate of the canvas, and then thereafter it is the certificate of nomination for each of the top vote getting candidates. So there are 4 for commission, 2 for city council mayor. They're actually in reverse order. So you've got the person at the bottom of the alphabetical stack for city council commissioner, going backwards through to the first candidate for city council mayor alphabetically. So
Okay, so this document is saying,
that guy's the canvas.
okay, so I will sign it because I understand what gets.
So in our municipal election, we had, our mayor had 5 original people in our primary. 2 of those people will move forward to our general. And then also on our election here, we have 5 candidates for the commission, but there's 2 available positions. So you have 2 candidates, 2 people move forward for each position.
So there'll
So
be
you have
4.
4 candidates that will move forward.
Okay,
Seven down.
do I need to say anything about what I'm signing here, or is that all explained?
So,
I mean,
included by our motion.
Okay, yeah, so what we're doing is
It's allowing those candidates to
allowing these candidates to move forward.
One of the things that the elections office gets to do through each election is, whenever there are candidates involved, is provide a certificate of election. This, however, is not a certificate of election, but it is a similar vein. It's a certificate of nomination. So this essentially shows that the individuals who named in these certificates were nominated in the primary election by virtue of receiving being one of the top vote getters. In the case of the mayor race, top 2, in the case of the commissioner race, top 4, and therefore get to move forward to the general election ballot. Now, this doesn't, however, mean that they have completed everything they need to do to move forward to a general election ballot, because there's the whole commissioner political practices side that they need to tackle with their candidate filing for financial paperwork. But we get a letter from them.
That's not a.
Not here.
They're
Not
nominated,
here.
they got through that part of the process. Now it's whether or not they've actually done their paperwork at
And so
COPP so that we can put them on.
It's another way of making sure everybody's playing by the same rules.
Exactly.
the different workers that get pulled at certain times to pay through this day, and then you gotta clear this stage when you get. Sorry. Right, Mr. Jones.
Well,
Now we had one more public comment,
Yeah.
the whole meeting.
okay. The time has come to open this meeting to any public comment on any matter that is not the subject of this particular meeting. Being no public comment. Thank you for your attendance and attention. Work on this, and we will adjourn the meeting.
I apologize, it's no problem, right?
Actually, it was really